to the Power of One. Today I'm going to be speaking with Ebony, and we are going to be speaking about returning citizens and for those who are incarcerated. They need services and they have rights also. Welcome to the show, Ebony.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So, Ebony, please tell the viewers about your nonprofit and how it got started.
Okay, well, my nonprofit is in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. It is Dream Builders Foundation, and we focus on reentry and at-risk youth. Right now, our main push is reentrance. We have a contract with the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections where they will refer anybody that is on parole to us, and we provide them resources and services. And then we're also partnered with the Virginia Department of Corrections to do the work in-house. Our organization was started because of my husband. My husband is currently incarcerated. So this is kind of like his dream. So he just kind of recalls how his upbringing was growing up and how he wished there were services and things like that for the youth. So that's where we get the youth piece from, but also being aware that the services are needed for those who are incarcerated when they're released and for those who are getting ready to be released as well.
Ebony, I speak to many parents who have concerns about their children. And sometimes, and a lot of times, I'm going to say, these parents will say, I am seeking services for my child, female or male, before they actually get into the system. But it seems to be little to no resources to help before they're in the system. Tell me about that.
So unfortunately, it is. A lot of programs are ran through funding, grants, sponsorships, and things like that. And sometimes it's hard to get. So there are programs out there, but sometimes they're limited on the things that they can do. But it's very important to have those programs because, like you said, we want to stop any juvenile going to jail or being removed from their home or whatever that looks like before they become adults. So that way they don't have to go through the system and then have to come home and be a reentrant and just try to figure out life, I'll say, as an adult. But what we're trying to do is offer mentorship, life skills, entrepreneurship, and let them know that, it's more than the streets. There's a big world outside of where you are located, and it's yours for the taking. So that's how we try to incorporate that with our youth as well, just being mentors and just speaking life into them.
With your husband being incarcerated, and you indicated that family life, sometimes, unfortunately, that can play a crucial role in which way a youth will go. How do you help that youth that is in a household that is full of negativity, probably full of violence, maybe drug use or drug sales? How do we save those youth?
So you have to try to save the parents while you're saving the youth. You have to provide services for them along with the youth because you can't have one person in the household willing to change if there's not someone else willing to change. So even with the services that we will provide for you, if we can connect the parents with a licensed clinical social worker or resources as far as maybe insurance or SNAP benefits, food security, housing, and things like that. So, we offer a lot of resources for our reentrants as well, but we also recognize the importance of the household and connecting with not only the youth, but their parents or whomever they're under the supervision of too.
A lot of the victims and co-homicide survivors that I serve, they live in a high poverty area. You spoke about food and housing insecurities, which is major and big.
It is.
So how does your agency assist with just those two major issues?
So first, it's all about us getting out there and communicating with the people the other resources ahead of time, letting them know, hey, this is what we do. These are the services that we want to offer. Do you have availability? Will you have availability? So that way, when we come across someone that's in need, we can refer the people we work with to your organization. Also, there is an agency or group named Breadcoin, where they can give you, we will purchase like little coins, and the community of Harrisburg, the restaurants participate in this program. We purchase the coins, we give them to the families, and they can get a nutritious meal for free just by using the coin. And then also providing them resources, going to, the food banks, picking up food, dropping it off to them and things like that too. So we understand, like, especially with inflation, even for people who we'll say middle class, or, working 9 to 5 and make decent amount of money. It's hard. It's hard for them. So, and we may have the resources or the transportation to get where we want to go, but we understand that not everybody has that. So if it means somebody calling your phone at 8 o'clock and you going to give them a bread coin, or you going to the grocery store to get them a few items and dropping it off, that's just what it means. You can't have hours on when you work. Like you would like to, in this work, you can't have hours on, work, because emergencies happen after 9 to 5 or 6 to 3 or 8 to 4. So.
Mm-hmm. That is true. So I did see on your website support groups. Now, for me, I think peer-to-peer support groups are priceless.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you can't sit in front of a therapist and speak to that therapist if they do not know where you've been. You know what I mean? I think peer-to-peer support is so important. Now, mind you, I'm putting peer on your support groups, but tell me about your support groups.
So our support groups, unfortunately, people of color don't believe in therapy. That's just what it is. They don't believe in therapy. So sometimes they need to see someone that looks like them, or who have gone through what they've gone through for it to click, or for them to open up about what their situation is. So it's important that on our board we have someone that's been incarcerated, who was in there, who's come home, had to rebuild their life, and show them that you can be great. Like your background does not define who you were or who you are in this moment. And then to be around people who are facing the trials and the tribulations that you're facing as well is very important, because if you see someone, it's like an accountability. So you all are in this group together, you form relationships, you see this person maybe getting ready to slide a little bit, you can say, hey, now, when we were in the support group, they said, you need to do this, this, and this. Come on, I'm gonna get you back on track so we can go there. So I just think it's very important for people to see people that look like them, and they can be comfortable and not feel like someone is looking down on them because they haven't experienced it. Or, I push education, but sometimes education does not outweigh the actual life when it comes to like work like this too. So.
Tell me about the family reunification and how that works. Is that through a prison that you and your husband are working through?
So we have a lot with the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections for family reunification. So what that looks like is we'll have a licensed clinical social worker. And if anybody is trying to reunite with their children, spouse, mom, dad, because sometimes a lot of harm is done. It's a difficult situation, especially if you are a person that's been in and out of jail. You have to build the relationships with your family. You want to rebuild the relationships with your family, and you don't know how to do it, and your family doesn't know how to do it either. So we have someone where we can partner with you and say, hey, you said you had a daughter you wanted to stay out for. This is what we're going to do. We'll reach out to the mother of your child to see if they're open to rebuilding a relationship with you and your child. And then we go from there. So it's just one of those things where we understand, we're here for the support, but you need your family too. So with the family reunification piece, we work on that too, along with other things as well. So that way, when you get back with your family, you have what you need as a person too to be successful with that relationship moving forward.
I can only imagine what some youth and adults go through when they're in prison.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of our youth are tried as adults based on the case. So if you have children that have untreated trauma and then they're incarcerated, and I know some things that go on in the prison, both juvenile and adult,
Mm-hmm.
is just probably horrific. Are they receiving services if they're victimized? And they probably don't want to say anything because they're in fear for their safety. How does your organization help those who, again, are dealing with untreated trauma, but then they have to go to prison, again, whether it's juvenile or adult, and they could be victimized and traumatized in
Mm-hmm.
prison. So now they have layers of being traumatized. How do you help that person who's going to return to society?
So we will connect them with a mental health professional. I am a firm believer that we offer workforce development, life coaching, housing, food. But if your mental is not right,
Mm-hmm.
it's only but so much that you can do for yourself. So we will partner them with one of our resources that focuses on mental health, so they can get through with whatever trauma they have either seen, been a part of, been through. So that way we can identify exactly what we need to do as far as case management goes. Because like you said, there are some things that go on that, we have wouldn't even imagine what it looks like, how it feels to see it or hear it. So it's important to tap into that mental piece first before we provide any of the services around that too.
What's the non-clinical care management? What does that look like?
So non-clinical is not diagnosing. It's a matter of you coming in, you telling us about you, and we figure out what services you need. We identify everyone as an individual. So we're not going to provide the same services and resources to everyone that comes through our program. So it's just a matter of sitting down, asking questions, having a conversation about what you want your life to look like, what is it that you have already, what is it that you need, and then we'll do an outline and say, okay, so we're going to provide this service, that service, and this service for you. And then someone else, it may look totally different. They may need all of the services that we provide, and that's okay.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
we'll do that, but it's an individualized plan that we create with anybody that we work with.
Ebony, are your services free?
They
And
are.
is there a timeline? You know what I mean? Can they be within the program forever?
So I don't think you can. So our services are free, but I don't think you can put a timeline on recovery,
I
if
agree.
that makes sense.
It does.
So of course we will say, okay, you came here in April. By June, we want to make sure you have a stable job. Okay, by September, we're going to find you housing because you got some money rolling in now. But you can't, if you don't, I can put someone in a home, but if I don't provide financial literacy, what's the
Mm-hmm.
purpose of putting them in the home? So
Right.
we understand it's baby steps as well. So if this person needs us for 6 months and they're like, okay, Miss Ebony, I've done this, I think I'm okay. And I feel like you're going to thrive, then okay, 6 months. But if you're struggling, or even if you go back for a few months and then you come on back. We're starting at square one, and we're going to make sure that we get you what you need. Now, I know we can't help everybody, and that's okay,
Right. Right.
but we will help as many people for however long we can.
How can people access your services? Is it just throughout PA?
So in my mind, I want dream builders to be a big organization.
Mhm.
Right now, we are in PA, but I want to focus on Virginia because that's where I'm from. That's where my husband is incarcerated. We have members on the board from Baltimore. So I want to focus on Baltimore. And then my husband is from DC. So I do want to get into, well, we want to get into the DC area as well.
Mhm.
So we will offer, and we do offer virtual programs too, because we understand that we need to be available for people. I don't want somebody to reach out that's in California. It's like, hey, I've been watching you online and I really need your help.
Right.
Oh, we can't service you. Oh no, here's the Zoom link. Can you get on Zoom?
Mhm.
Go to the library.
Mhm.
What can we do to help you? So yes, we are physically in Pennsylvania, but we will assist anybody that's in the United States.
Now, do you need a license for that, or it's just you can just have satellite offices in
Mm-hmm.
different states?
Right, because with the nonprofit and with us being a 501c3, we can serve everywhere. But when it comes to like grant funding and things like that, you need to have a location in
Right.
the actual states.
Okay. Now, so can someone actually call Dream Builders? I imagine a parent and say, "Listen, this is what's going on with my child. Can you help?" Can someone just call and receive services, or do you just get your referrals through the I'm sorry, the prison that you deal with? How can anyone access your services?
So they can call us. You want me to drop the phone number?
Please. Yeah.
You
Mm-hmm.
can call us at 717-660-0215. You can also text us at that number as well. You can send us an email at outreach@dbfdn.org. You can also go on our website at www.dbfdn.org, and there is an apply here under our services, and you can fill out the information there. You can reach us on Instagram at dream_builders_FDN, and also on Facebook at Dream Builders Foundation. So you can, all of those options, someone will respond, and they will respond very quickly to you too.
That's good to know. Now, you spoke briefly about someone who may be in a program and they may go back into prison, whether it's county or state. Is there a limit on how many times someone can be in and out of the program?
For us, no, because again, you can't put a limit on it. Like I am a
Mhm.
believer about being transparent and holding people accountable too. So do we want you to go back and forth? No, because it kind of reflects like, what are we doing? What do we need to do
Right.
for it
Mhm.
to click that, hey, this is not the thing to do. But we also want to make sure that we're there for you as well. And we'll talk to you. Like I'm very transparent, very open. It's gonna be like, all right now. What we doing? This the second
Right.
time.
Right.
What we doing? So there isn't a time limit. We just,
Okay.
but we will try to figure out what we need to do on our end as well to stop what is going on.
With your husband serving time right
Mm-hmm.
now, nobody's business as to why.
Mm-hmm.
How does he participate, or is he able to participate?
Well, he is. So his situation is unique because he is mentoring people on the inside.
Mm,
So he is the person that kind of, I'll say, he put the battery in my back to get this
okay,
going, and
okay,
has been very
okay.
supportive. And because I've never been incarcerated,
Mhm.
I know, but I don't know when it comes to certain
Right.
things. So he tells me things that he think will be beneficial, and then he also does like his mentoring on the inside too, whether it's somebody coming to him with a problem and he,
Mhm.
de-escalating them, letting them know what the bigger picture is, providing
That's all.
resources, for people and things like that too. So he's not like doing like all of the services that we do, of course, but as far as him being a voice inside of the walls as well, he is
Mhm.
really, firm on doing that.
That's awesome. For a couple of years straight, I would go to, well, which was Greaterford, but now Phoenix
Mm-hmm.
during National Victims' Rights Week. And this is National Victims' Rights
It
Week,
is.
April 6th through April the 12th. And Felix is one of the young men, it was somebody else, and they started a program in Gradeford, aka Phoenix, called
Mhm.
Let's Circle Up. And I think the program was amazing. So we would go in and they would do all of this, but they were acknowledging the harm that they did to the person that they victimized or to the family, which I thought was again amazing. And to me, I think this is restorative justice at its best. I don't think we can turn our head and not look at and not help those who have been incarcerated. These are
Mhm.
our family members. I don't care how you look at it. You know what I mean? I've had family members that have been incarcerated. I didn't turn my back on them and I supported them, but we spoke about what happened and how they harmed somebody or just turned a family upside down. So I think the
Mhm.
work that you're doing is amazing.
Thank
And
you.
again, something happened for people to make the decisions that they make. So
Exactly.
for them to have support systems, it doesn't have to be blood. And this year's theme for National Victims' Rights Week is kinship. So you don't
Mhm.
need to be my blood to be, you know what I mean, to be one of
Right.
my kinfolk.
Right.
So it's great for them to have that support system. And you think about maybe some children that have been in and out of like the welfare system. I'm
Mhm.
sure that could be traumatizing. We don't know everything that's going on, but I commend you and your
Thank you.
husband for taking a stand to be able to help the youth.
Mhm.
Because when we turn on the news, 9 times out of 10, what are we seeing? Young African American men shooting up other young
Yeah.
African American men, which is sad and so heartbreaking. So, what message would you have for those parents that are struggling with their youth, male or female? Because there are some females out
Mhm.
here that are in challenging situations. What message would you have for those parents? Being as though you're in this line of work.
Don't give up. Fight for your children. Um, Go through their phones. Everything is in their phone. I don't care if you have to fight them. Go through their phones. My daughter is 14, and any app that she downloads comes to my phone, and I look at it and approve it before she can get access to it. Um, Check their social media. They may have more than, one page. So just be diligent. I know a lot
Mhm,
of people are out here working multiple jobs and things like that, but still take the time out to build relationships with your children, get to know them, and just love on them. Even if they
mhm,
push you away, love on them, fight for them because they're yours. They are yours.
mhm, that's
Fight
true.
for them.
Mhm,
Nobody else is going to do for them like you do for them. Fight for them.
that is true. Well, thank you so much for your powerful message.
Thank
Thank
you.
you what you are doing because you are saving our future. On the other side, I know some people are very closed-minded when they hear about this aspect of the work that's being done. But guess what? It has to be done. For us to minimize and to stop crime, you're needed. I commend you and I commend your hubby. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's greatly appreciated.
Thank you so much for joining me today. We have to understand that we have to have uncomfortable conversations and we have to have conversations for those who are on both sides. If we want this world to be a better place to be, you have to be open minded and you have to respect the work that everyone is doing. Peace and love.